All right, we're going to compare March Madness to the college football playoff now that we've had a season to consume that and the 12-team version. Coop, what should people do?
Super Maze here. Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, I can't bring the other bed down, so there we go. I'll get tech support here. But anyway, we'll get back to Cooper. 12 versus 68 teams. Which is more appropriate, Caleb?
So, yes, and we're comparing the college football playoff to March Madness, 12 versus 68. This makes March Madness, this one favors March Madness because of the excitement, but it hurts the college basketball regular season. How about that? But yes, 12 versus 68 is 68 does favor a tournament with 68 teams. It's going to be more favored naturally.
Well, no, to me, they're pretty. I would take 68 over 12 for a different reason. I really felt like there were only 3 teams that could win a national championship in the college football playoff in the 12-team tournament. And that would be Ohio State, Georgia, and in retrospect, Notre Dame surprised me, but they had a pretty easy path. So I think there are 2 or 3 teams that realistically can win the college football playoff. I think there are 30 or more teams that can win the NCAA tournament. So I will say that the 68 is a more appropriate number, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. It makes sense for each of their sports pretty much, if that's the best way to put it.
But technically, a 4-team playoff probably got the job done, right?
The BCS got the job done. Sorry,
Maze
you guys
here. Hit like and subscribe.
You're right. All right. What down, Coop?
Cooper Maze here. Second down.
All right. Second down, the scheduling of both tournaments with buys separated by 2 weeks around the holidays and college football playoff. I don't know that there's an incredible difference in the scheduling. When I think of March, I think of basketball. When I think of the end of the year, I think of football.
The scheduling favors March Madness significantly. So it's 3 weeks. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first 2 weeks, and then Saturday and Monday, the final week. College football playoff tried to have their cake and eat it too, where they tried to have a playoff. They gave the buys, but they also still wanted the bowl games. So you had the first slate of games right before Christmas. You had the next slate of games on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. People can't travel twice. Then you had to wait 2 weeks for the semifinals. Then you had to wait another 2 weeks for the national title. So the games would happen. Then you'd forget about it because nothing's happening. Then you come back and care about it again. Like, oh, yeah, there's a college football playoff game coming on.
Well,
March Madness doesn't do that.
And to your point, they have to compete against what?
The NFL playoffs.
Yeah,
and you're not going to win that.
Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler. Before we get to third down, looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com. RickTerryJewelry.com.
Tennessee Center, Cooper Maze here. Third down.
Give me third down, Caleb.
All right, so third down. The home field advantage in the college football playoff. I think this is something that favors the college football playoff over March Madness because it keeps something to play for, pretty much, relatively speaking. I think this is what makes the women's NCAA tournament better than the men's. I've told you this before, Dave. If you gave the top 4 seeds in each bracket home court advantage their first weekend, wouldn't that be so much better for the regular season of college basketball if you knew that's what you're playing for?
I'm up for that. I like that idea. What down, Coop?
All SEC Center, Cooper Maze here. Fourth down.
What's fourth down there, Caleb?
And this is what makes March Madness more entertaining. Upsets are more likely in college basketball. March Madness is exciting for all the wrong reasons because the play is poor, the officiating is terrible, the coaches overcoach, but it leads to wild upsets that everybody likes to see. And the truth of the matter is there's nothing you can do in college football to increase the likelihood of upsets. They just don't happen. At the same vein, Boise State, if they get into the playoff, Dave, you and I both agree, they may win a game. They're never going to make it all the way to the championship game. It won't happen.
Well, no, you're right. And I don't think the 12th team you're in, or for that matter, the 8th or 9th team has a realistic chance of winning it all, right?
Well, Ohio State was the 8th team this year, but they were really the 4th best team because that's stupid seeding, the way they seed the tournament. They're like 4th or 5th, but they were technically the 8th seed because, the 3 conference champions had to be higher seeds, even though we all knew Ohio State was one of the best 3 teams of the nation going in. So, but I agree to a certain degree. I mean, there's such a drop off in college football, and that's why a playoff makes more sense for college basketball than college football.
Okay, so we've got a special Colorado fifth down. What do you got?
Yes, and the fifth down. How do both tournaments affect their sports regular season?
Well, the college basketball, the NCAA tournament, it destroys the regular season.
Wrecks it.
Yeah. Now, you and I may differ. I don't think a 12-team playoff destroys it. I still think you have to be right at a 10-win team. There were some 9-win teams that were flirting with making the playoffs, but pretty much have to be a 10-win team. You win double digits in a major conference like the Big Ten or the SEC, I got no problem with you making it. So I don't think it overly adversely affects. Those are two what were those? Adverbs back to back. I don't think it affects the regular season as much as you. Am I right?
Here's what it did. It turned college football into it turned the regular season from a double elimination tournament effectively to a triple elimination tournament. Where it used to be you lose 2, you're out. Now it's you lose 3, you're out. Does that make sense? So it's like it went from 2 to 3. And that's effectively what it did. Whether or not we agree with that. My problem is I think college football will always have the better regular season. You're right. This is still what makes college football better. And I don't care about a playoff. This is why I always said, I'm not people that were like, oh my God, let's have a March Madness in December. You're never going to have that in college football. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. There's nothing you can do. I don't care if you go to 64 teams in a college football playoff. But what you can do is have a March Madness in September, October, and November, a full regular season's worth of it. And I think I've lost the battle on the playoff. I have. I didn't want it. I didn't like it. But I will say this. You can at the very least make it better to put more value on the regular season. Like, for instance, you can make home field advantage extend beyond the first round. Honestly, I think home field advantage should go into the second round. I'm sorry. I know it's going to hurt some bowl games, but I think I think Oregon had a right to play Ohio State at home last year after winning the Big Ten.
No, I don't have a problem with that, extending the home field advantage. And it makes it a lot easier for makes it a lot easier for the fans, half the fans at least, to attend the event. And listen, that would incentivize the regular season, wouldn't it?
It absolutely would. Yeah, if you're playing for home field advantage, I mean, I told you guys the falls last year where you might chuck a game to get a lower seed and stuff like that. But what I will say is that, and I think you would agree with me on this, Dave, the NFL, there's never an incentive to throw a game. You might rest your starters in week 17, but you're never throwing a game, right?
No.
You're never incentivized to lose.